Welcome to Froch on Fighting. We've just finished here in Manchester watching the Wood-Lara rematch for the WBA title. What do I want to say about that fight? Lee Wood, right, listen. There's a few people around the ringside saying the performance was a bit flat from Lara, but all I want to do is give Lee Wood the ultimate credit for what was a clinical performance. I thought he boxed really well behind the jab. Round 1 and 2, he was a tiny little bit careless, getting caught with a couple of shots, but as soon as he sort of shook that off, I think he just dominated. Well, I say round 2, he was careless. He landed an uppercut in round 2, dropping Lara, and that was a heavy knockdown for Lara. And I just think that Lara's kind of nonchalant, sit back, take your time attitude, where I think he relies on punching power. Lee Wood never let him get into it. Lee Wood just dominated behind the jab, crisp, short right hands at times. Lara was walking into them, and he was unable to get anything going, because as soon as he stepped in and tried to throw a shot, Lee Wood just dragged his feet backwards and just kept out of harm's way, threw a couple of feints. Lara didn't know where he was. Now, you could say Lara was flat. We know he struggled at the weight because he didn't make the weight, but I attribute that win a lot to Lee Wood's performance. I just thought to come back after what was a devastating knockout in that first fight and perform like that, take his time, relax, stay composed for 36 minutes, 12 3-minute rounds of focus and concentration. I know how that feels, so I just want to say a massive congratulations to Lee Wood. He's now WBA champion, again, 2 times world champion, and that sets up a big one. For me, I don't think sometimes you need to worry about mandatories. There's a tall southpaw waiting for him. No one probably knows his name, but it's an awkward, high-risk, low-reward fight. Sometimes you need to go where the crowd's on, where the money is in boxing, and sometimes the names are bigger than the titles. And at 34, I think he might even be getting on for 35 years old, Lee Wood, a fight at the Nottingham Forest City Ground. Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. We've stayed up. We beat Arsenal somehow, 1-0. I don't know how that happened, but we're still in the Premier League. And if we can get Lee Wood back to Nottingham at the City Ground, I myself would be envious of him, but proud and happy for him, because against Josh Warrington, that would be one hell of a fight. That's 2 British guys fighting in, I mean, I think there's a bit of animosity and a bit of needle. It's not major, but you know what Warrington's like. Warrington's an angry man, and he can fight, and Lee Wood's a class act. So for me, that's the next fight for Lee Wood. I'd like to see Eddie Hearn get that sorted, get it on at the Nottingham Forest City Ground, and yeah, just want to say congratulations to Lee Wood. Flawless, perfect performance this evening. There was 2 other fights this evening. Billiam-Smith against Lawrence Okolie. Now, I predicted Lawrence Okolie, and I kicked myself for that because I like Billiam-Smith. He's a real hard worker and a trier, and he's had some good performances. But I just thought Lawrence Okolie would be too big for him. He almost looks like a boiled-down heavyweight. For Billiam-Smith to do the business, I saw him fall to the canvas on some of the clips I've watched, and what it meant to him was just brilliant. It's just nice to see him get that win. And, you know, I don't really... I feel bad saying it, but it's almost like Lawrence Okolie, it's not good enough. You know, you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to try and let them shots go and stop holding and stop ducking low and stop being so awkward and messy. That works for you at times, but this is a boxing match, and you've got to land shots. You've got to get behind that jab at times. You've got to throw shots that land, that are accurate, and stop holding, stop ducking low, and stop making things awkward. If you can leave that part of your game to one side and bring in some more clinical, clean punches, then you could potentially have a really good career. But I think it showed tonight your limitations, and Billiam-Smith has exposed your style, really. And I think you need to go back to the drawing board and come back with better than that, because a lot of people complaining about that performance. I mean, I'm being harshly critical here, but I'm going on past performances, and I'm going from what I'm hearing off this performance. But I just want to give Billiam-Smith praise, because that sounds to me like it was a great performance. I'll get back and watch it. Another one was Michael Conlan. Now, Lee Wood fought Michael Conlan, got dropped a couple of times early in that fight, and then pulled it back in Nottingham to get the 12th round knockout to win that world title. And that was one hell of a win for Lee Wood, and one hell of a bad loss for Conlan. But Conlan's such a talented kid. I always thought he'd come again. Now, this evening, I've not seen it again, but I've seen the stoppage. That was a bad knockout, and I just worry where Michael Conlan now goes from here, because that's 2 bad defeats this early in his career. Such a talented fighter as well, Conlan. I just think that losing by knockout in such a devastating manner, it's not good for you. So hopefully he can come back, go back to the drawing board, come back again, rebuild, and we can get a better performance from Michael Conlan. But yeah, it sounds very bad for Conlan, and it's unfortunate to go out in such devastating fashion. Also, away from this evening's boxing, I just want to touch on Tyson Fury. And I'm starting to get a little bit wind up. Now, listen, Tyson Fury, I trained with him for my first world title fight in Castlebar, County Mayo. I'm good friends with him. I've got a lot of respect for him. What a great fighter he is. But it's getting to the point now where I'm getting bored of his, I don't want to swear, so I'm going to say nonsense. But it's now called out, apparently, Eddie Hearn's denied it. He sent a contract to Anthony Joshua saying, let's get this fight on. You know, we can't just all sing to the Tyson Fury bloody tune of, oh, I've sent a contract, I want to fight somebody, who's next, let's make it happen, because it's not realistic. Let the promoters do their job. Let them get together and sort it out. It wasn't that long ago when he was calling out Alexander Usyk and offering him a 70-30 split. Bit of an insult, but Usyk took the fight at 70-30. He's on the 30%, the lower end, and then that fight never happened. So you do have to question, did you ever actually want that fight at 70-30, or did you price yourself out just so you could turn it down, but you got your bluff called, and it's starting to look a bit silly now, mate. You need to book your ideas up, get all your ducks in a row, and speak to your promoter, Frank Warren, and send a legitimate contract over and try and get this AJ fight. I don't know what's happening with this Saudi deal. It's supposed to be AJ, Deontay Wilder. You know my thoughts on that one. I think that's too soon for AJ. I think he needs to get himself back into a rhythm, maybe a fight with Dillian White. And then you've got Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. All sounds very good, straight semi-final. We'd love to see it, but now Tyson's called out. What's he done? He's probably called out 7 people in the last 18 months, and none of them have happened. So it's time for you, Tyson Fury, to get yourself sorted out. Have a word with Frank Warren, and I don't know, if you want to make an offer to Anthony Joshua, make it a legitimate offer, get the legal paperwork and the documents sorted, get it sent over to Eddie Hearn, and I'm sure if the fighters want the fight to happen, the promoters can make it happen. But at the minute, Tyson Fury is starting to sound like Cod's wallop. Is that even a word? But I'm not impressed, mate. You need to sort it out. Come on. Got a bit of beef on here in the arena. What's going off over there? Oh, it's all friendly. It's all fair in love and war. Oh, they're all friends up there. Listen, that's another wrap of an episode of Froch on Fighting. I've actually had 2 hours sleep yesterday. I'm knackered. Feeling really tired. I'm going to head over to my hotel and get myself to sleep. But hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And until the next time, Froch on Fighting. See you next week.